Some might say that I'm a loner, but I just call it being free. I am my heart's only owner, or at least I used to be. 'Cause now a wildfire is raging deep inside, and my heartstrings are...
Hey everyone, I'm Calvin with Southern Country Living, and today I want to talk to you about prepping. This is a little video series that I'm just getting started. This will be the first video in the series, and my concern is, and I want to help you with it, is what will you do if you have an emergency and you don't have any food to live off of? And this is something a lot of people don't think about. I talked to a few of my friends, and most of my friends do not prep. And I asked them, I said, what are you going to do if an emergency happens and you can't go to the grocery store to buy some food? How you going to eat and live? And they started saying, oh, somebody will bring me some food. I'm waiting on someone to help me. And I said, you can't always count on someone else to help you, because that help may not be there. I'll give you a couple of examples of what could happen. Of course, everybody's familiar with a big snowstorm. And you could have a big snowstorm and you'd be trapped in your house for 2 weeks and you can't get out and go to the grocery store to physically get food. So that's just one idea. Another idea is there could be a hurricane come through or a tornado or something, and it knocked the electricity out, and there wouldn't be electricity at the store where you could buy food if you could get there. And so you're going to need food and water to survive. There's a couple of other things that could happen, and these are the things that most people never think about. But what if you're just, say, a young person that's got maybe 1 or 2 children, and you lose your job? All of a sudden you got no income. How are you going to live for the next, week, 2, 3, 4? How are you going to live? How are you going to feed your children? Okay, that's why I'm talking about prepping and having a supply of food. I'm recommend that you at least need to get started with a 1-month supply. You need that food sitting on a shelf in a pantry or boxed up in a bedroom, wherever you want to store it. You need that food sitting there, so if something happens, you can just go in there, pull that food out, start making meals, and be able to eat that food for at least a month without having to worry about starving. During that 1 month, you can make plans to try to do something different. Another thing that happens more than people realize, you can have plenty of money in the bank, but your debit card could develop a problem, and when you go to the store to buy gas or to buy food, it may get declined. And you call the bank and they say, oh, well, you got the money there, but it's going to be 3 or 4 days before we get our system working, and they can't do nothing about it. This happened to a friend of mine. She had to go 4 days without being able to use her debit card. If that happens, as long as you got some food sitting there, you're not going to starve anyway. And you also want to have cash. The amount of money you have depends on what you do. But in case your debit card's not working, you need cash. So if you have to buy gas, you can go buy gas. If you need to go buy food, you can go buy food. But if you've already got the food at home and you can't leave your house, you're covered. You can live at home for a month, never leave your house, and be covered. So my basic advice to you is try to get set up so that you can start off and be able to live for 30 days if you cannot go to a grocery store. Getting started, a lot of people say, how in the world do I get started? I don't have much money. Well, like Marie always says, She said it's never too late to get started. So the time to get started is right now. If you can't start today, try to start tomorrow. But it's never too late to get started. As far as money, if your money is real tight, start off with as small amount as you have to. Each time you buy your groceries, try to pick up $5 extra worth of food or whatever you can afford. If you can buy more, that's great. But buy some extra food and start prepping that food and storing it up so that you'll build you up a 30-day supply. Once you build that first 30-day supply, then you'll say, oh, this was easy, and you'll start building up some more. And if you keep at it, next thing you know, you'll have 1 year supply, then you can get 2 year supply, and you just keep on going. You can have as much as you want. So make sure you date your food as you buy it so that you can rotate it. When it starts to get old, go ahead and use that food and replace it with some new fresh food. But a few items that I recommend that you probably want to be sure you get is get you several cases of the bottled water. We buy most of ours from Walmart, but you can get it at Kroger's or any store you want to get it from. Have you several cases of water, because some things you want to cook, you'll need some water to cook with, and you can use that bottled water to prepare a meal so that you can live on it. On food, primary things you want to have is canned foods so that those don't spoil. And things like canned meat, you want to have plenty of canned meats, plenty of canned vegetables, and plenty of canned fruits. You also want to be sure, maybe have you a jar or two of peanut butter, some jelly, some saltine crackers, have you some, if you like snacks, have you a couple of boxes of snacks and some chips around. Some of these things are just little comfort foods, but for that first 30 days, if you have to live off of just your prepping supplies, it's nice to have a bag of chips you can pull out and enjoy just a few of them too as you go. So don't concentrate solely on food, but have a few snacks to go with it also. Another item that you probably want to be sure you have is medicine. Now, the only medicine I have to take is blood pressure medicine, and so you can't just go to the store and buy extra month supply. They won't let you do that. But what you can do is make sure you order a 90-day supply each time you order, and try to always have medicine on hand. When mine gets close to running out, before it ever runs out, I go get that prescription refilled so I've got medicine on hand and I'm not running out of medicine. Another thing that's very important on the prepping of your food is make sure that you have a way to cook that food. In my case, I do have a gas oven with gas eye tops on it, so we can cook ours with gas. But if something happens and the gas quits working, I do have a propane camp stove, and we can get that propane camp stove out and set it right over there on top of our other stove, and I can cook and prepare meals right here in the house without any problems. Now, if you have an electric stove, you probably need to invest in one of those little propane camp stoves and get you several of the small bottles of propane fuel. Keep them in stock so that you'll have them to use if you ever need it. And in the event that it is a major emergency, you need to have you a radio, a little portable radio, so that you can play it on batteries and find out what's going on in the world and keep up with those types of information. Okay, now on this video, like I said, this is my very first video in this series, and I'm just covering some of the basics of what you're going to need. And I just want to impress upon you the importance of getting started and start building you up a supply of food, because the worst thing could happen is for you to be having to be responsible for your family members, and you can't go to the store and get food. And if you've got food sitting on your shelf, you know you can feed your family and you're not going to feel bad about it. A lot of people eat fast food all the time, so you may not know how to prepare some of these foods that comes in cans. So what I'm going to do, I'm starting another series that's going to be called Prepper Meals, And on each video, I'm going to prepare a different meal using only the canned foods that come out of my supply out there in our pantry. And I'm going to show you how to make different meals with just those supplies that are good meals that will sustain your body and keep you alive. Okay, and also I just want to let you know that as far as prepping, Marie and I, we've been prepping for a long time. Marie was actually the one that got me started on the prepping. When she first started talking about it, I was probably just like you. I thought, well, you know, why? You know, I make good money. I can go to the store and buy my groceries. Well, you know, you got to think about the emergencies that come along. And just because you got money, that don't mean you can go to the store and buy groceries. So you better prep and have that food sitting in your pantry or in your house somewhere, so that if an emergency does come along, you and your family, you can live without having to go to the grocery store. So this is just some information I wanted to share with everyone. I hope this information has helped you, and I hope it'll benefit you and your family. Now this video is just my first video in this series, and I just want to encourage everyone to start thinking about what you can do to start building your supply to prep in case of an emergency. This is very important, and if you do it, you're going to be so proud of yourself after you get started. I will be doing follow-up videos. I'm going to give you more ideas and show you more ways to do things that will benefit you and your family. I hope that this video has gave you some encouragement. I hope you enjoyed it. If you will, be sure and hit the thumbs up, and be sure you subscribe to my channel so you can be catching all my videos that I do on the follow-up of this series. Also, my first prepper meal video should be coming out tomorrow. I've already got it planned what I'm going to do, and it should be out within the next day or two anyway. So everyone have a great day, and thanks once again for watching.